Hey everyone, it's Nick, and I'm going to go through how to set up firmware to work with Marlin, and more importantly, Ryan's GitHub repository, so that you can build the DualEndStop firmware for yourself. And he has a few links on his site, but I'm going to go through it step by step. So right off the bat, I want to get the Arduino IDE. I'm on a Windows 10 system. So I'm going to do a quick search for Arduino IDE. I'll find the Arduino IDE main page. And if you look down here, um, there should be a Windows zip file. And I'm going to click on that, and that's going to download the Windows zip file. I happen to have it right there. I have already downloaded it, but that's where I'm getting it from. So we start that download, and if I go to my downloads folder and I look, there is my Arduino Windows zip file right there. And I'm going to unpack that. If I look at my folders, I should have an Arduino's window folder that has the Arduino IDE and all of its drivers. Okay, so I need to get this file right here. I'm going to go ahead and rename this. Rename. I want to make this as short as I can just because I want to. I'm going to call it IDE. All right, so it's an IDE, and I'm going to pick that up, and I'm going to move it to the root of my C drive. Oops. Just to make it easy to find. So it's going to go through, and it's going to copy all that stuff up to the root of the C drive. And that will keep my paths really short, because one of the things you'll get with Marlin is it has a tremendous amount of header files and libraries. And when it tries to do a final link to all that stuff, it runs out of the 32K characters in Windows for a single command path. And this is the way we get around that. All right, so now I've got this in my C drive, and it's called IDE. Let's go ahead and go into that directory. Now, one of the things that they'll teach you is you need to create a new folder called portable. Not really sure if it's case sensitive, but they ask for it to be all lowercase. If you call this portable and you run this executable, it will realize there's a portable folder there and put all of the settings and files in this directory, which is what we want. So now I'm going to go ahead and execute the Arduino IDE, and unfortunately it's coming up on the other screen. I'm going to go ahead and allow it to have access to private networks. Bear with me while it loads up on my other screen. And initializing its packages and starting. All right, here we go. So now I've got a little vanilla 1.85 or 1.8.5 IDE that basically knows nothing. If I look at Sketch and I want to go to my library, you notice I've got no special libraries added to here. And if I go to my tools and I select boards, you notice in my boards, I don't even have the addendum for the Rambo board. And we're going to want to fix that. We're going to want to have the Rambo board added to this. Okay, so to do the Rambo board, what I'm going to do next, so we set up our IDE, is, and one of the things I want to do first, I want to show you that under portable, look, it created a sketchbook and my preferences text. We're going to need to edit preferences text. So we're going to go ahead and take this IDE, because they'll tell you, don't do anything while it's running. In fact, it would have showed you that in the IDE. So with preferences, or the IDE closed, I'm going to open up this preferences text, and you'll see that it's got all of its boards up here, and it has a build section. So I am going to add to that a build path. This is where it'll put its temporary files, and I'm actually going to put that in my C IDE TMP. Okay, that's where I want my temp directory to go. Nice and short, only 6 characters plus all the slashes. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then, of course, if I'm going to use this, I need to pop back up and I need to create a new folder called TMP right here. All right, so now I got a temp file where it's going to put all of its compiled entries. That's nice and short, so I won't run out of space. Next, I'm going to want to go to Arduino IDE Rambo. We're going to want to figure out how to add the Rambo firmware on here. So if we look at the Rambo firmware from RepRap, it will tell us that to add it to your IDE, there's all these preferences you can do. And ultimately what you're going to do is you're going to take this text right up here, which is where the boards are located for Rambo, and we're going to start this IDE. So I'm going to go back over here and we're going to kick up this IDE, and once again it wants to open on the other screen, but we'll ignore that for a second. IDE is not the quickest thing in the world, even on my quad-core system with 16 gigs of RAM. It takes forever because it's a lot of little files. Okay, here we go. There's my sketch. I'm going to go ahead and edit the preferences like it says, and I'm going to go down to my additional boards, and I'm going to paste that in there. Okay, so, and notice that it decided that its preferences file is in the IDE portable preferences text. All right, we're going to go ahead and save that. And now if I go up to Tools and I go down to Boards, you'll notice, let's see here, I might have to restart the, I might have to restart the IDE. So let's go ahead and, oh no, I don't. I have to go to my board manager. So I'm going to go to my board manager. Now that I've done this, I'm going to do a search for Rambo, and there it is. Get more info on that. I got a Rambo version 1 and a 1.1. I always like the newest versions of things. So I'm going to grab that and install it, and I should be good to go. All right, so now if I do Tools and go down to Boards, whoops, I'm going to move this up a little bit so you can see it. Tools, Boards, I have the Rambo available to build against. All right, so now we're going to have Rambo on COM1. I'm not going to worry about my COM port yet because I'm not actually going to push this file to my Rambo just yet. I'm just going to show you how to get it going and to successfully compile it. All right, so we got our Arduino IDE set up. One of the other things that it likes to use is the RG or the RU8 glib for the display screen. So if you got a display screen on your MPCNC, you're going to want that. So under Sketch, I can include libraries, go to Manage Libraries, and I can go ahead and type in the is it R8 or RU? Oh, I'll never get this right the first time. Let's see if it's down here. Here's the Adafruit library. Well, I'm gonna forget what that library is called. Is it R8? G? Oh no, U8G. There it is. U8G. There it is. So the U8G lit library, the built-in library coming from Oliver, is the one you want. And now the particular Marlin code that we downloaded does have a version of it. I've always gotten myself in the habit of using Oliver's library directly, and I'm going to go ahead and hit update to make sure it's installed and running. So now I have this library. If I hit close and hit sketch, and I want to hit include library, you'll see down here it found my library. Curious as to why it went ahead and threw 2 entries in, but meh, it's there. All right, so with that done, let's go to MPCNC DualEndStops. And this is where we find V1 Engineering's AutoSquare DualEndStop website that Ryan put together. This is where all your directions on how to do this are going to come in. They got little videos and examples. He shows each of the different boards it supports, and how to hook up the end stops, which ones are which, and all that stuff. And then he comes down here and says, his firmware is only available on his Marlin GitHub page. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the Marlin GitHub page, and you'll see all of this stuff. And this is his Marlin GitHub page. And if you look under the branch, he's got all of the things. By the way, this main branch, if I go back to the main branch here, this is Marlin. This is the root of Marlin that he cloned. Everything else in here is what he's added to it. So he's got a couple of things he's done. My particular one that I'm interested in is the one for the Rambo T8 16 tooth lead gear LCD dual end stop. That's the one I want. If you're running a ramps, he's got some code there. Looks like he's got the ramps version of the end stop code there. So that'll be all his add-on files. But when we clone this or download it, which we're going to download, we're going to click on download here, and we're going to get his version of Marlin. And if I open this, show in folder, I got his version of Marlin, and I am going to unpack this to Marlin 1.1. Oh, here we go. I didn't have quite enough time to show it all. All right, so now I'm going to go down to my zip file of Marlin. Quite a lot of downloads. I really ought to clean this one point. I will have the Marlin tree here, and if I look under Marlin itself, there's everything for Marlin. Now what I don't have in here is the branch that Ryan did for my particular board. So if I go to the Rambo DualEndStops, you will see the, where do we go here? I want to pull that particular file. If I clone this one, download, let's see what I get with this one here. So this one here is MPC Marlin. So I actually did grab the wrong one. Oh well. We'll open in folder. So this is the one that's actually got the end stops in it. That's the one I actually want. So you'll download the one for yours. I'm going to go ahead and unpack this. And extract to my dual end stop code, and I'll come over here and I'll see all of Marlin come unpacked. Okay, and we'll zip down here to my folder section. Whoa, and there's my Marlin dual end stops. So now I've got all of the Marlin in here, and if I drop into here, you'll notice I just have the configuration files and the project that Ryan made. Okay, so from there I can go to my IDE. What I would probably want to do, just to make things easy, is I probably want to go back up here and copy this, and we're going to stick this in the root. Actually, here I'll just drag it to C. Copy here. And we'll continue because you need administrator privileges to put it on a C drive in Windows. But I like to keep my path relatively short. This part really doesn't matter. It's the build path that I did with the temp file that really matters. All right, so let's go back up to the C drive. And there's my disk. And you should see my directory. And oh, let's see, which directory did I really drop it into? I'm willing to bet it went somewhere in one of these other ones when I wasn't paying attention. That's unfortunate. Well, that's no problem. I'll go ahead and you guys get a chance to watch me make a few mistakes. I'll go ahead and take this guy here. I'm going to have to go find it. And, well, there, let's see, Marlin. We'll do a search on there for Marlin. Where did Marlin go on the C drive? Show me where my Marlin went so I can move it back to the root. I'm going to bet I probably dropped it in something dumb like System32 or the program files directly. And that's embarrassing. In case you do the same, this is kind of how you fix it. And clearly my SSD drive is not indexed. It's taking longer than expected to do a quick search here. Where did Marlin go? Marlin, hello. And probably would have been faster to go ahead and unpack it again and be a little more careful on the copy. Where did Marlin go? Marlin, come on. I'll give this a little bit longer, and then I'll probably just go ahead and unpack it again anyway. It'll be faster. So while I'm waiting for it to find it, again, we want the IDE. We want the zip file of the IDE so that we can run it as a non-administrator. And that's just so that we can put this on a flash disk if we wanted to and run it right from a thumb drive. And once we open it up, we want to put a portable directory on it. Then we run the executable, which will create all the files in our portable directory. We close down that IDE and edit the preferences text and add the build path variable and put that in the same downloadable path or downloadable zip file we've made, so that it keeps our temporary files in a nice short place, because the Arduino IDE in Windows wants to put everything in a really long, ugly path in your app data folder, and the Arduino IDE will bail when trying to compile. Okay, well, this is dumb. I'll go find it later. That's my problem. For you guys, we'll go up here and we'll just go ahead and re-extract it real fast. And, oh, wait a minute. Apparently, I got lucky, and I just made a copy of it. So I should already have my directory down here. I usually try to do a move so I don't overclutter this. There it is. All right. So once again, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to go to my C drive, and I'm going to right-click right on the C drive here, and I'm going to hit paste. And there. Now it's in there. And then I will go to my Arduino IDE, and I'm going to open up a sketch. And when I open up my sketch, I'm going to go to my PC, I'm going to go to my C drive, I'm going to go to my Marlin directory. So there I am in my Marlin directory for my DualEndStops, and I'm going to pick the Marlin directory and the Marlin INO file. And I'm going to open that up. And then I'll get yet a new one. I don't need this one anymore. I'll get this nice new one, and you'll see 4 tabs. There's the configuration advanced, and the little boot screen that Ryan has created so that your Marlin will say V1 with the engineering logo and the word engineering on your LCD. And that's if you've got the rather large LCD. I don't know if this works on the 2-liner I've got, but we're going to find out. There may be some tweaks I'll want to do to this, but I want to show you how to get it up and get it compiling. This should be it. If everything works, and I'm going to go ahead and make this big so that we can see what happens, I should be able to go right to verify and click on verify and sit back and wait for this whole mess to compile. I don't have anything special on my system to make this work. You saw everything that was needed. Because I'm running in this little portable version, it's not making use of any other libraries that are on my system anywhere else. It is exclusively compiling in that C IDE folder. And I'll show it to you once this is done. This is not quick. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes for it to go through and compile up all those libraries, then to link them and build an executable. And once this is done, then all you need to do is connect up your USB port to your Rambo board, or if you're using the Ramps board or one of the other boards, the Astra board I think it is, you just need to click the upload and it will send that to your board. And that part's usually pretty easy. So as you can see, we're still compiling. All nice and green, no warnings down here yet. And usually right about here, it starts the actual linking up and putting all these pieces together. If I would have put on the debug mode in preferences, it would have showed you more stuff. But as I'm not expecting any problems because I've done this, okay, so this little archiving core, this was a cache that it found somewhere else for the AVR. Not really sure what this is, but it's just a notice. And I get this every time I build it. You may not see this. All right, there we go. Done compiling with no errors whatsoever. Isn't that nice? And it knows that on a Rambo board, which is another Arduino implementation, I've got 42% of the program storage space all used up. So I've got quite a bit left to go. And that's it. We have compiled. So if I were to have my board connected and hit upload, it would see that I've already compiled all this stuff, and it would just upload that binary. If we go into the directory for the IDE, and we go, I believe, let's see, it would be under portable, which is where everything went, should be a, let's see, I've never actually gone to look for the executable, the bin file, or bin or hex. To be honest, I can't remember. In my sketchbook, that's my libraries, so that's me adding that library. Let's go to portable. Did I put it? No, that's the Rambo for packages. Well, to tell you the truth, I can't remember where it sticks the silly thing. But it is done. I have done this a number of times, and I'm able to press upload, and it works. So if you're having any trouble getting your own version of Marlin all put together, this is all I did. So once again, you go to Althead's Marlin GitHub. Make sure you change your branch to the version of board and code that you want. He's got a couple of them there. If you don't want to do DualEndStops and you want to back up, I would go back to this board and reburn it, and then I would have the code that I'm currently running, which is just the one for this particular LCD. If I wanted to change LCDs, for instance, let's say I didn't get the full graphic version. I could go into the, I believe it's the configuration. Let's see, this one here is, oh, there's the showing the boot screen. I'd have to take a look at where it is, but there is a define in here that defines, so there's where I defined, or it defined my motherboard, but there is a define for the LCD that I'm using, and I cannot remember for the life of me the part number it is. As you can see, this is a rather big, big screen. Well, let's do this. Let's go edit, and let's do a find, and let's do, I want to say it's smart. It's a smart screen. Rep discount smart controller. There it is. So you have the full smart controller, character-based LCD, or you have many other controllers that you could have used. And I would simply comment the one that I've got. And I may actually have to do that on my board because I did buy my own from Amazon. And I may have to, I believe it is this guy right here. So I'm going to probably have to uncomment that one and then comment the one that they've already got running, which for the life of me now, I've got to find where the screen that I'm using for the LCD, it's in there somewhere. Anyway, that's what I'd have to do, and then I could switch my LCD. So if my LCD doesn't come up, I'll go back and do that. But I have a completely working compiler that I can now make changes to all I want and make it go. Hope that was useful. If you have any questions, let me know.